Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'm here to do a very light half of the year wrap up. I haven't read many books this year, but I've read quite good ones until the Booktober one. So I will talk to you about all the books I've read until July and one book that I've read since then. The first book I read this year was Attachments. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. The story is about Lincoln, who is a guy who doesn't know much what to do with his life, and so he gets a job as the IT guy in a company, and these are the 1999, so the change of the millennium, and everyone is very confused about how the internet and email works actually, and it's really funny. And basically, because he has permission to do that, and it's his job, he has to read the emails of every employer. And he comes across the conversation between two women. He's supposed to, when he notices that the emails are personal, he is not supposed to actually read them, but he kind of starts, and then because it's a conversation, he cannot stop reading them. And it's really cute because he falls in love with one of them, but he obviously doesn't want to tell them, and he thinks he will get really weird when he tells her how he knows so much about her. So it's really, really cute. Lincoln is an adorable person, and I really, really enjoy this book. And actually, I really want to read more of Rainbow Rowell's adult contemporary novels because I enjoyed this much more than Eleanor and Park actually. Then I read The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. And I really enjoyed other books by her. And this one is about a girl whose father is in politics, and so she has a really guarded life, and she doesn't have a very good relationship with her father, but her mother has passed away since, and then her relationship with her father is really, really weird. But then there's a scandal in his party, and he kind of has to retire for a while, for like a year, for like a few months. And so he comes home during the summer. At the same time, she loses her internship at somewhere else because of this scandal, and so she and her dad are stuck together at home. The relationship develops and it's beautiful, but also she has to get a job as a dog walker, which is what you see in the cover. It's really funny, and of course the romance is actually very heartwarming as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed that book, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next book I read was The Mark of Athena by Rick Riordan. This is the 3rd book in the Heroes of Olympus series, and it follows up where the 2nd book leaves us. And I won't give you any spoilers because it's the 3rd book in a series, but it's really, really good, and the ending has me dead, of course, as everyone was expecting it to leave me. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I still think the first one is the best one in the series, so I'm looking forward to the next ones. I'm enjoying this series so much, and the reading experience that I'm trying to stretch it out because I know that's only 2 more books. I'm really, really enjoying this series as well. Next book was Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. I had to read this for 20th century English literature class I took in university last semester. This was a very good surprise. I was not expecting to love this book because I'm not very into stream of consciousness, and I really like my books to have a more narrative structure. However, I really enjoy this book. I don't know if it's the themes or just the beautiful writing, but Virginia Woolf really got my attention, and now I really want to read more by her. Yeah, so I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, but it's kind of a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend this book to anyone, especially anyone that's studying English literature, yeah. Then I read Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn. This is a book about a lot of topics. You've probably watched one of the adaptations, but if you haven't, do check them out. This is a book about Charles Ryder, and Charles Ryder meets Sebastian at university, and through Sebastian he meets his entire family and his amazing house. You're getting all this story through a flashback that he gets. During World War II, Charles Ryder finds himself at this house, now almost empty and in use by the military. So it's a really interesting book that deals with a lot of topics. You can go with the bisexuality of the main character. You maybe read that in the book. You can go with the themes of religion that the author himself says it deals with. But you can also go with the themes of memory, or with the themes of the loss of heritage and the loss of old world that England lost at the end of World War One, and how that destroyed the foundations of an old society and how a new society emerged. This is about a lot of things, but basically I enjoyed the reading of it. I think it's a very easy book to read. It's very enjoyable. Evelyn Watt is known for being very sarcastic, and that voice is here somewhere. Evelyn Watt was in the military, and he was also, and that's when he wrote this book. And also he did went to university, and he did drop out like Charles Ryder. So it's a very interesting book, and and the author himself is very interesting. So I would recommend you check it out. And I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars again. So yeah, I had a really good experience reading the books I had for that class. Next, I read the graphic novel or comic, volume 1 of Paper Girls. This, I don't know how to explain this plot. It's basically 4 girls during what seems like kind of the apocalypse. It's really weird. I cannot explain it. A lot of people loved it. I didn't love it so much, but maybe that's because I'm not a comics person. But I did give it a try. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was amusing while I was reading it, but at the end I just wanted more. And for what it is, and for the price it normally has, it doesn't have a lot of story, and I really wanted more story. So yeah, I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. Then I reread Can You Keep a Secret by Sophie Kinsella. Sophie Kinsella is one of my favorite authors. She does great chick lit, and please, if you don't read chick lit because you think it's shallow and not interesting, give her a go. Can You Keep a Secret? It's very funny, and it deals with a lot of funny anecdotes and things that the character goes through that are just inexplicable. How did she find herself in this situation? But at the same time, you find the heart in all of the characters. And the main character, for example, has a very interesting relationship with her family that I loved reading about. I laughed so much sometimes. Sometimes I felt for her because it's really, really interesting what she does, how much soul and heart she can give to a character in a chick lit book. So don't undervalue, is that a thing? Chick lit books, and give one of Sophie Kinsella's books a go. I really, really enjoy this one. Angle is changed. It's because I had to change my SIM card, sorry. And I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars as well. It's not the best Sophie Kinsella. There is one that has my heart, which is I've Got Your Number, but this is really good. And it's a very strong, very solid 4 stars. The next book is Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe. That's a very long title. And this is the story of Aristotle that meets Dante, and basically a year, 2 in their lives. A very beautifully written book that sometimes feels very aware of how poetic he wants to be. That being said, it's a very interesting story, very beautifully told, with a lot of heart and a lot of soul, and very touching, very moving. I wished we had Dante's perspective. I sometimes feel like Dante is more interesting than Aristotle, but I think this is a personal matter, like it's subjective. Maybe you prefer Aristotle to Dante. That being said, it's a very good book. It received a lot of awards, and I would definitely recommend this to people who want to read YA and want to read diversely. It's a beautifully told story, and it's a solid 4.5 stars. On Goodreads I gave it 4 stars, and I have a review there as well, so you can check that out in my Goodreads page as well. And then right before Booktubeathon, I read and finished this book, which is a historical fiction novel by a Portuguese author called Isabel Stilwell, and the book is In Quinta Geração, and it's a story of Isabel of Burgundy, or Isabel de Borgonha. She was the only daughter, or living daughter, of Philippa of Lancaster and King John I of Portugal, and she was a very well-educated, interesting woman in her time, and she made Burgundy a very important and prosperous dukedom. She's a really interesting woman, and I would definitely recommend you read about her. And for those of you that read Portuguese, I would definitely recommend some of Isabel Stilwell's work, mainly the book about her mother, Philippa of Lancaster, which is translated to English, so you can all read it. But yeah, I would definitely recommend that because it's my favorite. And she comes from a very interesting, very extraordinary family called In Quinta Geração. And that's why this book is called that. It's because it focuses on her and her role in Burgundy, but also the relationship between all the brothers and how she connected with them. And I gave this one, again, 4.4 out of 5 stars. It's a solid 4 stars. I've read worse books by this author, and so I'm happy to say that this is like a going back to our first ones that had a lot more heart and love in them, put into them, because I think that the author is really interested in Philip of Lancaster and the generation of sons and daughter that she left in the world. So yeah. Only one book left, and that is The Red Queen by Philippa Gregory. I read this after the booktubeathon, and I haven't read Philippa Gregory in a while, and I love her writing. This book is the second in a series that starts, or at the time of it was published, that started with The White Queen. So The White Queen was adapted to a TV show, but actually the TV show is based on the 3 novels that were out at the time: The Red Queen, The White Queen, and The Kingmaker's Daughter. So this one follows almost the same timeline, or it actually starts earlier than The White Queen, and it follows the life of Margaret Beaufort, the mother of Henry VII, and the path and the struggle she had to get her son on the throne. And it ends when her son gets to the throne, because there's more books in Philippa Gregory's collection that deal afterwards with his reign. I thought this was a very interesting and accomplished book in getting us engaged with a character that's not a good person. She's very interesting, and it's really funny to read from her perspective, because I didn't agree with her and I don't love her, but her mind just made me laugh, and I was like, oh my god, you are insane, woman, but you get stuff done. And it's basically, I think, what the author wanted us to feel. She was a very religious woman, and she basically shamed in this book all of the other women that didn't pray as much as she did, that didn't use God as an excuse like she did, but she felt chosen. And it's really funny to read from one of the husbands she has. He tells her that, and that's the best way to describe this book, literally, is that sentence, because he basically tells her, funny how God's will is always what's best for you. And that's basically how you can describe Margaret Beaufort. But she's a very interesting character, a very strong woman in a world where we always think that men prevailed and had the last word. And she basically worked her way in that world, just like Elizabeth Woodville in White Queen did, but in a very different way. So she married 3 or 4 times, and she only had 1 child, and she didn't have any other because she had that child when she was 14 or something like that. She was very young, and it left her incapable of having more children, basically. And that son was Henry Tudor, that would become Henry VII, and so she felt that she only had 1 child, and that child was then have a destiny. And because she was the heir of the Lancaster family, her son would be the heir of everything, and the throne should be his. And it was, because she plotted everything very interestingly well, even though you kind of hate her while you're reading from her perspective, because you see how arrogant and how insanely competitive and ambitious this woman is. And I'm not saying women can't be ambitious, I'm saying she's ambitious to a not healthy level. But yeah, I really liked reading, I always like reading Philippa Gregory's books, and I also gave this one 4 out of 5 stars, because I'm basic like that. I give 4 out of 5 stars to every book, basically. I find it really hard to give 5 stars, but this was really good. This was like a 4.5 stars. Yeah, and I really enjoy Philippa Gregory's writing. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can give it a thumbs up or subscribe down below. And all my media links are down below as well, so you can check them out if you want to. And I hope to see you soon with a new video soon. Bye!